We're riffing with jazz.
How's it going, folks? Welcome to the Riff with Jazz podcast. Just walking the forests of Kuala Lumpur. Wanted to talk about social media today. This is not a new topic for many people, but you might hear something that's a different version of reality. It might come off in a different way. What was I going to say? Yeah, so there was a Bondi shooting, and afterwards, and a lot of stuff came out about it, you know, where it's looking like pretty set up, and then the government's recalled in guns and done lots of stuff. But what was interesting is that following this incident, it's just incredible that I just had a barrage of influencers on my X account yelling about Labor and immigration, which I don't think that's the issue. But it really kind of was interesting how I really see that so much of things these days is trying to influence your thinking and your perception. And anger and emotion, I think, also is a good way to keep you severed from your spirit, to keep you severed from your higher consciousness. And so this Labor and immigration thing, it's a bum steer and a distraction, but it's also the way it's done is kind of it's a misdirect. And it also puts you in that emotion of anger, which actually makes you a bit more impotent. And like directionless, you know? And it's interesting, so I'd watch these influencers come out and say this stuff, and I've just been really aware of how so much of social media is here to massage your thought, to get your thinking in a certain direction. And people be aware that, like, there's now a lot of bots are in the comments. And, you know, there's certain people, they sound like a bot, and there's others that are bots, you know? But again, it's like it's massaging a thought. And it's interesting, I made a decision recently to basically most of the week give social media a miss, because I just realized it's kind of running me. Like, it's sort of like a lot of the time I'm quite wired in this social media sort of frenzy, and even me commenting on, okay, this is a play here or whatever, it's still kind of keeping me in that reality of this fever and this sort of, you know, overt. So even if you're aware of the way they're manipulating, it's still keeping you in the energy of that. And it's quite interesting. So this morning I haven't done any social media, and it's incredible how my mind feels still and calm, and I actually feel clearer. And I think over the last couple of years, like since COVID, it's like I've been on social media 10 times more. I think like a lot of people have. And I think with that, there's been a disillusionment, of course, of, you know, the governments and media and all sort of thing, like all the shenanigans. But yeah, it's just incredible how, with watching it a lot, it is giving me a kind of a lost feeling. Yeah, a feeling of, sort of scattered and lost. And just a tiny bit of despondent feeling. You know, it's funny, I used to have a lot of drive when I was younger. Last couple of years, especially since COVID, I find alcohol does the same thing if I have too much. It creates this lost feeling and lack of clarity and motivation, but also, yeah, just not sure, just a sort of a low grade despondency. You know, if I drink more than really a day or two in a row. Quite interesting. And it's funny, I'm sort of seeing the connection to social media. And I do think it's intentional. Like it's a way to shape thought. Like the more we stay home and sit in front of our computers, the more we're molded. You know, I've been traveling for quite a while now. And every country I go to, it's just incredible how people are just hypnotized by their phone. Like it can be a poor country and people have these $1,500 phones and they're just in them constantly. And I mean, that's going to have an effect on your brain, your emotions. It's going to, the more someone is pleasure seeking, the more they're cut off from their spirit, because you're in the mode of the flesh, you know. So, you know, and that's why a lot of spiritual traditions use fasting, because it gets you out of the sensation of the body. But the sensation of the body and social media are kind of interlinked. So that's interesting as well. Anyway, what I'm saying is kind of on the surface, you know, obvious in one way. Like, I'm not the first person to say this, everybody says this, but it's just really interesting how, you know, like how, just this thing about sort of shaping thought. So anyway, so kind of, again, like to make it practical, as an exercise for you, when you get on it, notice how you feel afterwards. And, you know, does it make you more sort of settled or less? Because what I find is it's just less settled. It's less clear, there's less clarity. Yeah, and there's more of a lost feeling. And so maybe you could experiment, and again, this is up to you, because this is my first morning of doing this. You could experiment with how you feel and how you go, just taking some time off, you know. Maybe that's just half day or full day, whatever. Up to you, but anyway, it's just really interesting. I've sort of been, you know, like I'm pretty aware of a lot of the games, the way the Matrix works. And it's interesting because you know, you can sit there and say, I'm aware, but the more you're part of that thing, even if you're sitting there saying you're aware, the more you don't really know if the tail's wagging the dog or not, like to what extent, because you don't know what you don't know. So like, to what extent are you being played, even if you think you're smart? And I think one of the biggest traps is thinking you're smart, like thinking you're quote unquote awake. So anyway, it's just interesting. Anyway, so that's kind of all I want to say today. Like, I'm having a bit of a break from it. And you could experiment with just seeing what it's like to go without it. Particularly what it does to your sense of clarity, your sense of peace, your sense of who you are, that sense inside you, that sense of your direction. Like, notice what it does to those things, you know? Notice how you behave to others in those situations. Just all these things to notice, you know? And so this is not to convince you of anything. It's just more of an experiment that I'm pretty much running at the moment. Anyway, that's about it for today. I think let's do a little meditation. Just hang on. All right, so today's little reflection is just like noticing So the topic today was noticing what social media does to you. But now let's bring this into the body. And so one of the things it does when you stop is that you can slow down and just notice what's happening in your body. So just, with the images, just breathe in and just be aware of your body. And as you're breathing, just be aware of how your body feels. And if your body feels in a certain way, just say, I hear you. I hear what you're feeling. I hear what you're thinking. I hear you. Because there's something about that is deep. That, you know how, like, if you're really struggling and someone really hears you, you know how deeply healing that is? So you can do that with your body. And so just as you're sitting there breathing, say to your body, okay, I hear you. I hear what you're feeling. And you can name that if you want or whatever. But sitting and being with it, that feeling. And the feeling of compassion. So just letting your body feel whatever it feels. And can you let it be okay to feel what you feel? So one of the things with distraction is we don't want to feel what we feel. So can it be okay to feel what you feel? And can it be okay to not know any better, or to not know a better way? And notice how when you say to your body, it's okay to feel, notice how some calm comes over the body, some relief that it's okay to feel what you feel. Interesting that, isn't it? So distraction in social media is disallowing feeling, but this is turning it around and allowing feeling. And notice how we've been going for 3 minutes. And there's a good chance, well, in 3 minutes you'll feel different. You might even feel it more intensely, but you feel different. And if you do feel it more intensely, can you just let yourself feel it more intensely? Maybe something's wanting to come up and be felt. So can you say yes to the feeling? And yes, some more. And yes, some more. And say to it, it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel how you feel. And if there was a little child inside, how would it be looking now? Would it be looking a bit nice, a bit happier? Is there a bit more peace there? So maybe the next time you feel like distracting, you can choose to distract if you want. I hate rules. Why create rules? But maybe before we distract, let's just say, you know what? I'm just going to feel what I feel. And that's okay. I'm going to allow myself to feel without fighting it, just for a couple minutes. I'm not going to create a story. I'm not going to create a fucking solution. I'm just going to allow myself to feel what I feel and let it be okay. It's okay to feel what you feel. And as you say that, you can start to slow it down in your mind. It's okay to feel what you feel. And again, you'll start to notice your stomach feels more calm. It's okay to feel what you feel. All right, so that's about it. So if you feel like experimenting with any of this, withdrawing stimulation and feeling what you feel, you can run it as an experiment. You don't have to believe anything I say. This is just an inquisition. Look at the little cute monkey. You know, there's that expression, cheeky monkey. After seeing these monkeys, I totally get what that means. Because they are cheeky, they're funny bastards. You got to watch them too. They'll grab your phone, they'll grab anything. I saw one that grabbed this person's glasses. I saw another couple, they were asleep, and the two monkeys got in there, pulled out a sandwich and a drink or something, took off the plastic, just sat there and eating it while they were sleeping. Very cheeky. Anyway, so today's thing is presence or distraction, maybe we could say. Allowing feeling.
Riffing with jazz. We're riffing with jazz.